IncubatorWarehouse.com presents HatchTalk podcast. All right. Welcome back to another riveting episode of HatchTalk. I'm Shawn.
I'm Patrick.
And we are here for your hatching and chicken talk needs.
At least we try to be.
Yeah. Welcome. Today we are going to be going over a few things. We're going to be deep diving into the deep litter method.
Composting poop in the coop.
Yes.
Intentionally.
We're also going to be going over some chicken hacks and rating them, and a couple other winter things we should be doing right now while we're taking care of our chicks.
Some keep it or crap it's, poop it or coop it's, whatever you've grown to know it as. You know, we'll be doing a little bit of that.
We're going to be rating chicken hacks on the internet.
Yep.
So, welcome to HatchTalk.
How you doing today?
All right.
Are you excited for this?
I am. I'm excited for this episode. You know, it's all about the poop and the coop.
It is.
We're getting into the deep litter method. What is the deep litter method?
Well, it's essentially creating a healthy environment for your chickens while also creating some healthy compost for your garden.
Okay.
It's a method that is meant to keep things cleaner without having to clean as much, if you will.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, it helps keep those coops warm in those cold winter nights. You got those microbes working overtime, making little furnaces for your chickens. You don't have to worry about supplemental heat if you're doing it right.
Science.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, it'll be good for your garden later.
Yep. I can tell you that I've unintentionally done the deep litter method before without knowing until I'd already done it, and I realized, hey, I'm actually doing something right here. This is great.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, deep litter is it's more management than it is neglect. You know,
Yep.
It's a lot of just kind of trial and error and seeing what you're doing, but there is some things to definitely watch out for. So right now we're going to be kind of a deep litter 101. What is it, and why it actually works? So what's the deep litter method actually is? Okay, it's basically just a controlled compost in your coop.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. You know, the biggest thing is anybody who keeps chickens, they know that the poo, it builds up quick. The chickens don't care. They're pooing all night while they're roosting. They can't take a few steps without dropping a deuce. It is a mess in there. But with the right amount of bedding, using like pine shavings or hemp shavings or straw, given certain situations, things like that.
Even leaves.
You can utilize it. Yeah. Dried leaves. You know, what you're creating is an environment where the chickens are essentially using their own little chicken science to create a heated microbiome, if you will, inside their coop. Mixing the right amount of moisture, the right amount of poo and bedding. It's actually a recipe for some good stuff, and in the long run it gives you some good compost for your garden if you're into gardening and stuff as well. It's really something that's, I would say, become prevalent within the last 5 years or so. I mean, people have really started kind of figuring out the science behind it and
people are catching on to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, essentially just need three things for the deep litter method to work, right? You need a good carbon bedding, like you're saying. You need either pine shavings, hemp bedding. That's become popular quite a bit. A little more expensive, but and then, you know, any type of real good carbon breakdown. So even a lot of people you're naturally using, like their leaves they raked up, they keep those pulled away, and then the all important the manure from the chicken. And those little microbiomes just kind of working together in this own little, you know, what's that called? Contained system, as it were.
There you go.
So why people use the deep litter method? The biggest reasons why people use the deep litter method, one, this is my reason why I'd use it, is fewer cleanouts in the wintertime. I'm not worrying about it. I'm just kind of setting it, forgetting it.
Yep.
It's naturally insulating. That's the big part. I mean, especially if you're in a colder climate and you want to keep those chicken warm, a good deep litter method, having a good rotation is going to keep your coop naturally warm. It's a natural insulator and it produces heat on its own.
Yep. And surprisingly, it actually reduces odor in the coop when done right. You may be thinking, this is a disaster. You're going to be making just some stinky mush in there, but it actually, when done right, it creates more of like an earthy tone, if you will, instead of
That
that
gross
smell
ammonia
that we're
smell.
so used to
Yeah.
when we get in there. Yeah.
That's a good indicator that your deep litter method's not working correct,
Yep.
is
Yep.
if the smell is off. It should have that kinda earthy, compost smell.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's for the other reason why you wanna do the deep litter method. If you're gonna be gardening, your deep litter method is a great compost.
Yep.
In the spring, once you clean all that out, it's there for you. So, a couple of rules to go by when we're talking about the deep litter method. Here are 4 rules that make or break the deep litter method. Okay, number 1, carbon from bedding. Okay, it has to be absorbed. It absorbs nitrogen from the manure. You want to make sure it's a good absorption. You also want to make sure that's not something that's going to hurt the chicks. So you mentioned cedar. Cedar can actually be really bad. So you want to make
Hmm.
sure if you're just pulling in wood shavings, you don't have cedar. Cedar can be toxic to
Yep.
your chickens.
Yes, it can.
But I mean, cedar does smell nice.
It does.
I'd want to put it in there honestly because I love cedar, but it smells really good. But don't do that. Pine smells good.
That's
Use the
right.
pine.
That's right. Don't go for cedar. Don't fall
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. It prevents the sogginess and the smell. So get a good carbon base. So pine shavings are great. Hemp bedding is great. Those are good ones to go in, and then straw. Straw is also good to mix in. You want to layer it.
Yep, yep. And speaking of sogginess, you're also going to want a little moisture control. The goal of this is a wrung out sponge, if you will. You don't want it dripping, you don't want it wet, but it's going to be a little damp. You're going to feel the wetness. If it gets too wet, you're going to start getting that ammonia smell. It's going to be just absolutely terrible. And too dry, you're going to have just some crazy dust going on in there. You're going to notice stalled breakdown. It's not going to heat like it should. It's not going to create that heat. Essentially, you're just going to have a bunch of dry bedding on the ground, just making um, bad
That's
respiratory situation
interesting
for the
because
chickens.
moisture control is key. That's the next big key thing for it. But too much moisture, you're going to get a sick chicken.
Hmm.
Too little moisture, you'd get a sick chicken too with
Yep.
all that
Yep.
dust. So you want to find the, like you said, that wrung out sponge kind of a feel to the deep litter method.
Yep. And don't think of this as some overcomplicated thing. It really isn't. It's actually much easier than it sounds. If I could accidentally do it, then I have faith that you could do it on purpose.
Just messing around and finding out.
Yeah, yeah.
The third rule that you want to follow is good oxygen. So, um, getting in there and making sure. I mean, the chickens will do this automatically. That they like to peck, they like to pull, but you do want to scratch it up slightly. Ever so often, you want to get some more oxygen deep down in there. So give it a good turn. A few pokes
Mm.
would be great, and that prevents sickness. You want to make sure that it's not developing too much moisture levels. Just give it a good mix once in a while. The chickens do like to roost. They do like to mix things around, but make sure you're doing that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely will do their own scratching around in there and mixing it up a little bit for you. But depending on how deep you've gone, depending on what you have in there, if you've done a mixture of leaves and shavings or things like that, it's going to be helpful for you to get in there and do it as well. Just once or twice, throughout its lifespan, maybe, depending on how active your chickens are. And that's going to bring us to the fourth rule of thumb, which is going to be a ventilation. Um, you've got to have proper ventilation when you're doing stuff like this. It's gonna make sure it removes any excess moisture. It'll make sure there's no ammonia buildup going on in there, and regardless of what you're using for bedding, it's not going to be a fixer for poor airflow. You've always got to have good mix of airflow, even in the winter time. We've talked about reducing drafts and things like that, but we always reiterate it's important to have good airflow to keep fresh air moving in and out of that coop and run for your chickens.
Yeah, essentially, your coop's alive. It needs ventilation. It needs to breathe,
Hmm.
just like the oxygen mixing in. It needs the whole ecosystem. That's the word I was thinking of before.
There we go.
Ecosystem of your coop. It needs to have those 4 things to kind of keep it, working okay. So ventilation is key. You know, um, if you want to see more about the rules, check out our blog. on our website.
Yep, just updated the blog post today. We do have a deep litter method 101 for beginners up there. It's full of great information, and it's going to cover most of the stuff we cover here in the podcast. But if you're the kind of person who likes to go back over and have some written information, it's going to be a great place for you to go. And you can find that on the website, incubatorwarehouse.com. Right on the top of the menu line, it's going to say blog. Click it, you'll see it.
Yeah, and we'll have a link in the show notes too. So look out for that. So let's talk about the best bedding options for the deep litter method. Okay.
For sure.
Number one, a lot of people use is pine shavings. Right, they're affordable. It's reliable. It's pretty much a top choice for most
Yep.
people.
Yep. That
Next
was
we
always
have
my go-to.
go to hemp bedding has come alive quite a bit. Um, it is very absorbent. So
Yep.
if you're having problems, if you're trying to even in your run to get down in the you know moisture there, if it's getting muddy, hemp bedding is really absorbent. It works really well.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a great deodorizer, but
And
it's pricey.
it is spendy. I've been doing some research on it recently because I didn't even know that was a thing until recently, and it seems to be the superior product. It
Yeah,
seems to be the one that if you can afford it, that's what you want to go to. But just keep in mind, pine shavings, straw, dried leaves, they're still going to work for this. You don't have to go all out and get something crazy like the hemp bedding if it's too pricey in your area.
right. And a lot of people use sand in their coops. That doesn't work with the deep litter method.
No,
Don't do that. I mean, mainly a lot of people in warmer climates do the sand in the coop because it's easy to clean out and they don't have to worry about that. But I mean, probably not going to be using that for the winter warmth, anyways.
no. I look at sand as more of a kind of like a kitty litter, if you will. Like it's going to be
Right.
absorbent on the spot, but you're not going to get anything out of it. You definitely can't use it as compost. And generally, I suggest keeping the sand in the run and not putting it in the coop, but to each their own.
Right. Now, how to start the deep litter method the right way? What do you want to do? What's going on? So, you could do it. If you really want to go crazy once a year, I recommend twice a year. Start it in the spring after there's a good thaw. It's kind of ready to go. You can really tell when you need to switch out your deep litter method because it'll get to a point you'll start to smell it,
Yeah.
and when it goes from earthy to ammonia, that's really when you want to go pull everything out of there, get that more oxygen into your compost heap, getting ready to go into your garden, and give it a good clean out, wash down, rinse out, pressure wash that place,
Yep.
clean
And
it all out.
and visually you'll see that the droppings and everything start overpowering the amount of bedding that's in there.
Yep.
It just comes to a point where either you're gonna have to add more of the bedding or you're gonna have to pull it and start fresh. So either or in this situation works. I kind of agree with Shawn. It's best to pull out at that point and start fresh with a new batch of the deep litter.
Yep. Start it out in the spring, and then once you're getting ready for the fall,
Yep.
that's what I do. Now, when you're adding in your bedding, a good 4 to 8 inches to start off.
Yep.
And your chickens will do a lot of work for you.
Yeah, it'll get worked down really quick. 4 to 8 inches really isn't going to be that deep once they start walking around and defecating on there and doing their thing. It's going to pack down pretty quickly.
Yeah, so let the chickens do the work
Yep,
for you.
they're natural born scratchers. They're going to dig around in there and they're going to do a lot of the tossing and turning of the bedding for you.
So, when do you add your next layer of bedding? Once you see it's visually more damped and start to get compact, maybe a little smell. That's when
Yep,
you're going to want to add another layer.
yep. Catch it at if you catch a slight ammonia smell, that's when it's time to add. You can usually save it from getting too far gone at that point. Just add some more bedding, mix it up a bit. You should be good to go from that point.
All right. Now let's talk about activators, add-ons, and what to avoid. So obviously, when you're adding, just add more dry bedding.
Dry, dry
Dry
bedding.
bedding,
Yep.
and you want to make. I mean, you can mix it up. So put your pine shavings and then a little straw.
Hmm.
Adding a little
Hmm.
bit more of the microbiome into the whole ecosystem is going to change it up.
It is.
If you have uh, a little bit, I like for an activator too. Some of your garden soil in the fall,
Hmm.
when after you tilled your garden down, put a little sprinkle of that in there. That'll kick up the microbiome quite a bit too.
Yep. And I'm a huge fan of the dry leaves after they've fallen. getting those saved up and tossed in there with your pine shavings work great as well.
Exactly. So, good ventilation, obviously, and then occasionally fluffing. When you fluff it all, mix it all together,
Yep.
that's going to activate those too.
Even with the chicken scratching, it's still going to get packed down a little bit. So it's good to get in there with a pitchfork and just fluff it up.
Now, to use with caution, a little agricultural lime is good in there. That'll help it, but never use the dehydrated lime because that could kill the biome. So don't do that.
That's good to know.
Um, yeah, lime doesn't fit. I mean, lime will cut down on smell quite a bit for
Okay.
other things, but it doesn't actually fix a ventilation problem.
Even I'm learning stuff on this podcast. This is great. I had no
So
clue.
a little bit, sprinkle it in there. Once a month maybe.
Okay.
That'll help. What you want to avoid. Some people, I've seen this. You have the Damascus earth in the deep litter method. Yes and no. Like it that's meant to dry out things, okay? And that could kill your little ecosystem before it's really going. I've seen some people do it. I've kind of got mixed feelings on it. It can help, but it's probably neglected, negligible, I would say.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And Shawn didn't mean Damascus.
Oh,
He didn't mean the nice metal that people use
no,
to build swords. The actual term is I'm gonna butcher this. Diatomaceous earth.
diatomaceous. Sorry,
Yep.
yes.
It's all right. If you want to build a sword, go Damascus. If you want to fluff your litter, you want to not be using the
Diatomaceous. That's the
diatomaceous
word.
earth. Yeah. Um, but he has a very good point there. That's not something you want to be mixing in there. You want to avoid that. Both of them, Damascus and diatomaceous earth.
Right. Diatomaceous. I
Definitely.
gotta say that like 10 times to get it right.
Hey, it's all right. I just said it 3 times there, and I don't think I said it right any of the 3 times. I think they're different every time, but that's okay. And something you should never use in your coop, something you should always avoid regardless of what litter method you're using, are any kind of harsh cleaners and chemicals. Depending on what your coop's made out of, it's going to physically absorb that kind of stuff. It's just not healthy in the long run. It could make your chicken sick. It could cause all kinds of problems. So try to stay as natural and while staying clean, try to stay as natural with it as you can. Don't go crazy. Don't go bleaching your coop and things like that.
Now, one thing I always have the caution, the heat lamps as a fix.
Mm.
So you're thinking, oh, okay, it's getting really moist in here. Maybe I need to dry this out with a heat lamp. No, that doesn't fix it, people.
No.
Heat lamps will cause a lot more bacterial growth just coming in because it's adding that extra heat without natural ventilation. The ventilation, if you're having too much wetness, it's not a heat problem. It's a ventilation problem.
Yep. If it starts to smell too much like ammonia and you're at to the point where you've added extra bedding, you've done everything you can, check your airflow. It's going to be an airflow issue. You can get the air moving through there and hopefully, not have to pull out early or anything like that. You should be able to save the litter.
Exactly. So I mean that's pretty much all you really need to get started, get going. But it is kind of like a science project, as it were. You're just messing
Yep.
around, you're finding out, you're doing science. But highly recommend, especially if you're in a more climate, the deep litter method. You know, you got to have the three things. You got to have the carbon bedding. You got to have the manure, and then the microbiome. It's a cycle of trying to keep all of those things equilibrium,
Yep.
and you're good to go. If you can manage that, you're going to have a great garden come spring. You're not going to have a smelly coop, and you're going to have some happy chickens.
Yeah. And if you don't get it right on your first try, that's okay. It's okay. No one's judging you. You can try again.
I might judge you.
Well,
Just
secretly, Shawn is going to judge, but you know what? Patrick is not.
I'm not casting my stone. Don't worry about it, people. You're fine. Now, time for everybody's favorite segment. We've got Coop It or Poop It, Hatch It or Crap It. These are clips from around the internet. This is Maria from Miana on TikTok.
And this is to help
So
with
she's
egg
putting
production.
sugar
It boosts their
in the chicken water
metabolism. Now
to
melt
boost
down
metabolism
the sugar with
and
some warm water.
boost egg production.
I've never seen this before in my life.
Now we're going to take
I know
out
the
chickens.
adding
There they
in
all come.
the red pepper
And
flakes.
you're going to
Those
add
chickens
traces
seem
of
happy to
water.
get some chicken
Stir it up. And it
water, but
helps
I don't
with egg
know about
production in the winter. intake.
Sugar. I mean, added calories does make sense to help out.
Yeah, a little energy boost, if you will, I guess. If you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, the kids call this natural energy. But this
That's
is
a
something
lot of
I've never
sugar.
seen. Yeah, that is a lot of freaking sugar.
I mean, sugar chicken's usually what I call orange chicken from Panda Express. Maybe this is their secret
Very
recipe.
fair, very fair. This is definitely something that I can say I've never heard of. I've never tried, but if you have any experience with this, if this is
Drop it
something
in the
you've done,
comments if you've done
leave
this
some
and
comments.
it works.
Yeah.
I want to know if this is a real chicken hack. I think it could work, but I also think adding a lot of sugar into a chicken's diet is going to have the same problems when we add a lot of sugar into our diet.
Yeah.
So drop a comment. Let us know.
Yeah, give us some more information on this if you've tried this. I'm curious.
Yep. Up next, we've got Raymond on TikTok.
This way of raising chickens is honestly a genius.
Oh, that's cute.
Instead
They
of
made a
throwing
little
food
Christmas
on the
tree.
ground, he strings fruits and vegetables together and sticks them vertically into the soil.
Oh, we got some chicken
When chickens
kebab
peck at the
feeder.
food on the bottom,
That's
the
kind of
pieces above
inventive.
slowly slide
I
down,
could see
creating
myself
a
doing that in the
simple
fall when I've got a lot of
self-reliant
leftover
system.
vegetables.
Normally, chicken feed
I've
is
seen
on the
similar
ground
things done like
without
that.
much of a problem. Chickens step all over their food while eating.
I mean,
which
yeah, they're going to
easily
step on anything they
contaminates
eat
it.
for sure, but
Dirt and
So,
bacteria get
contaminates.
mixed in,
That's something
making
that you would
using
consider
less over time.
an
With
enrichment
this vertical
item for
setup,
chickens. It's
chickens
definitely
can't
something for
step on
them
the
to
food at all.
keep themselves
They can
busy.
only eat what's lowest, and once it's gone, the next piece naturally drops down.
I
The
mean,
trick is
I like it. I
placing
mean,
lighter
I'd
food on
keep
the
it.
bottom and heavier
I'd
food
say,
on
but
top,
it's
so
not the
one
only way you
does
want
the
to feed your
work.
chickens.
Yeah.
Keeps the food clean and
Think of it as more of a special
farmers even
fun
mix
treat for them.
vegetables up high,
I'm used to
forcing
seeing it
chickens to
hung
jump if
rather
they want to
than
bite.
on a spike,
That
but
means
Yeah,
better
this is
hung
food
definitely
like
a
this.
keep it.
exercise.
For
Healthier
sure.
chickens
Give them a
that
little
eat more
exercise.
naturally
Let them
produce
work for
better
it.
quality meat.
Keep it.
That's a keep.
Yeah.
That's a keep.
Yeah.
Try it out. If you want to enrich your chicken's life, go ahead and give them some chicken kebabs.
Yeah, definitely. Not chicken kebabs, but
Chicken feet
kebabs for your chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now on YouTube, we've got the Green Home Grove.
If you're just getting started in homesteading, then you want chickens because chickens are awesome.
Chickens are awesome.
Bedding
They're
pine shavings
awesome.
are my favorite for one reason: deep litter. The deep litter technique is a low maintenance composting method.
It is
4 to 6
low
inches of
maintenance.
carbon-rich pine shavings. As manure accumulates, the bedding decomposes naturally. Mix it with a rake once every few weeks and add fresh bedding as needed to keep the coop dry. Sprinkle diatomaceous earth to help control mites, lice, and other
Diatomaceous earth.
dehydrating. It's totally natural, reduces odors, and keeps the bedding drier. Proper ventilation also helps prevent moisture buildup. Over time, the litter turns into nutrient-rich compost for your garden. Every 6 to 12 months, shovel it out and start fresh. This method reduces cleaning times, controls odors, and promotes healthier chickens, all while producing valuable compost. We call this a closed-loop system. The compost feeds my crops, the crops feed my family, the leftovers feed my chickens, and my chickens make more compost. So what are you waiting for? Are you chicken?
Okay, so I like what he's doing here. He said diatomaceous earth the right way, and I screwed that up.
Yeah. He used it, which I wasn't expecting.
But it is low maintenance. I love that. He gives a great explanation of why the deep litter method actually works, and how to do it. I think the chickens can mix it a little bit better, but if you're trying to get all the corners, nooks, and crannies.
Yeah, definitely.
But you want to be just careful with the diatomaceous earth because that stuff it'll keep it dry, but you don't want to dry it too much.
Yep.
Too dry is too bad for your deep litter method.
I think for me, I'll stay away from it personally, but I can understand the use of it if needed, I guess.
Yeah, good. I think it's a definitely a keep in the coop. Try it out, and yeah, it is a closed loop.
Yeah. We'll it's a keep it. It's a coop it.
All right.
Also, the guy has some pretty good editing style there.
I
liked
like
it.
his
Yeah,
style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hats off to you, sir. And that was Green Home Grove. All right. Earth, nails, sand, and tails. Okay.
Today's the day. Let's clean out the chicken coop.
Mid-fall is one of the 2 times each year that we clean out the chicken coop. Short winter days means more waste inside the coop, so it's best to get everything clean and ready for the chickens. And we only have to do a big coop clean out twice a year because we utilize the deep litter method. Eaton Pet Pasture produces a superior hemp bedding, which is the ideal material for deep litter. Hemp produces little dust, absorbs 4 times its weight in moisture, it's sustainable, and has a neutral pH, which makes it great for the compost pile. To start, we are going to throw down a thin base layer, and each day or so we are going to sprinkle a little bit of bedding just to cover the new droppings. The hemp is going to capture all the moisture and neutralize the chicken waste by starting the natural composting process. You'll be able to repeat this process all winter without having to clean the coop until spring or summer. So the next time that you're cleaning out your chicken coop, maybe you should think about using the deep litter method yourself. Today's the day.
All right, so I like this. He's cleaning out the coop, getting ready. He does it twice a year. I recommend the twice a year method. But yeah, short winter days does mean the chickens are going to be in the coop. They're going to be pooping a lot more. Time to take care of the deep litter. I like this that he's using the the hemp bedding.
Yeah. And did you notice this man had a trap door in his coop?
Brilliant.
That is genius. That is genius.
There's a chicken hack all alone. Just that his raised bedding and then the hatch to clean that out. No more scooping. He just shoveled it right in and pulled it out.
Yeah.
Sir, you are an innovator. Real man of genius. I wish I had that song. Maybe I'll edit that in there.
Real man of genius.
That's terrific.
I agree with everything this man has said, and +5 awesome points for the trap door. Definitely keep it.
For sure. This one is from Rough and Tumble Farmhouse.
If you have chickens that don't want to come out of their coop in the winter because they don't want to put their precious little feet in the snow, which I understand, I don't put my feet in the snow either, I'm going to show you a really simple little trick that I do to get your birds out of the coop, pooping out of the coop, and just gets them out and about more in general. So as you can see, we just got a bunch of snow, so I'm having to refresh it. All I'm going to do is put some straw out in front of their door and then put a little bit of feed out here to encourage them to come out. I always consider this kind of like their winter porch. So I'm going to spread it around and then I'll show you and see if we can get some of these girls to come outside. It's nothing complicated. I'm just going to put a little feed out here because I know they're just inside the door there. So I put a little feed out. They're going to get curious and they'll come on out.
Well, that was a good little trick.
There you go.
Huh.
There we go. Took about 15 seconds for them to start coming outside. And so now they'll get out, they'll peck around, they'll scratch this around a little bit, and then I typically might have to add more every few days, depends on how windy it is, if we get more snow or so forth. The chickens will start coming out, the ducks will come out, and they'll sit in it because it insulates the snow, puts insulation between them and the snow. So it's a really good way to easily get your chickens out of the coop. And so they get some kind of fresh air, a little exercise, less stressful. And it just costs, maybe $1 to put this out here.
All right. So she's trying to get their chickens out, and she comes up with a pretty ingenious way to get your chickens coaxing out in the winter.
Yeah. Wasn't the biggest fan of the wasting the food on the ground like that, but I see the logic behind it.
Yeah.
I would also wonder if after a little bit that the melting snow and the straw or the hay start to make a kind of a nasty mess, but I'm not 100% sure. I've never tried this. I definitely can see the advantage to it, to trying to coax the chickens out, but yeah, that's definitely an interesting way to do it, and I'm all for it. I say we keep it.
Add a little insulation for the chickens to walk around on the snow. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if it works, proof's in the pudding. It worked.
Yeah.
It came out.
Trick them.
Looks like she's got an automatic door there almost set up. So yeah, could get them out, get them running around. I think that's a good keep it for sure.
Agreed.
So here's 2 things if you're doing the deep litter method. One is if you go to like a local lumber yard or lumber mill, a lot of times they'll just give this to you like for free. You just have to shovel it. And then the other thing is if you've got buckets like that, just line your truck first and then it's super easy to just pull them out and toss it in. Okay, so here's 2.
All right, from the Hunt, Honey, and Homestead, you get cheap litter method by going to your local hardware or your local lumber mill and getting shavings cut, which is brilliant. And I love that they put it in the buckets, lets less work. That's a hack for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing you do want to watch out, but depending on what they're milling, because if you're in an area where they're going to be milling a lot of cedar, you'd want to watch out for that. Plus, if it's a lot of like, um, architectural board where you're gonna have glue and stuff in there, you want to watch out for that too.
Yep.
So I mean, this has got to be really dependent on what kind of lumber mill you're dealing with.
Yep.
But brilliant. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely screams to my frugal side. I love this. This is one heck of a good hack. And yeah, like Shawn said, just make sure it's the right kind of shavings. Nothing that's going to cause any problems in the long run. But this is definitely a keep it.
yeah, for sure. And especially the bucket. I mean, I've
Yeah.
never thought about doing that. I mean, when I have to get more compost and more topsoil, I'm going to put that in the back of my truck. And they also, if you notice, put a tarp in
Yep.
on the side. I'd already do that, just as easier to clean out, but the buckets is a great idea. And this one is from the Free Range Morgans.
Hey, real quick, let me show you what I'm going to do. I know people have heard horror stories about heat lamps starting fires in their coop and how they're dangerous, but it's about to get to single digits all next week. So I want to keep them warm.
Mhm.
What's up? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these long screws and I'm going to run them partially in on both sides here to keep that from falling out and falling down and starting a fire. So that way they'll be able to stay safe and stay warm at the same time.
Okay, so this one, I mean, good on you for trying to keep your chickens warm when it gets really, really cold, but I don't think this is a good idea. Yes, you're securing the lamp better. What he's doing is screwing it in there. It is clamped down pretty hard, but I mean, if you're already running power out there, why not just put a heat plate in?
Yep.
Where the chickens are going to be fine. The risk of that just burning out and causing a fire is way greater than a heat plate.
Yeah. Definitely not. I see what he's doing. I see the logic behind it. I see, trying to make it as safe as possible. But, you also have the risk of that light shorting out, that light breaking, getting glass and all that kind of stuff, in your coop. There's just way too many downsides to using a heat lamp, in my personal opinion, that regardless of how safe you are, accidents can still happen.
Yeah.
While I wouldn't recommend this myself, I can see the logic behind what he's trying to do and trying to be as safe as possible with it.
Yeah, I would crap this one personally, just because the risk reward is just too high for what you get. Plus, all the problems are going to dry out. If you're doing the deep litter method, you're going to dry out the coop quite a bit. I know he's got good insulation in there, but that one spot is just going to be dead.
Yep.
From the microbiome activity. So, I wouldn't keep it for sure. All right, well, that's it for this episode of HatchTalk. We went into the deep litter method. What are your takeaways?
I definitely think it's worth doing, especially if you have the sort of homestead or the sort of setup where you have chickens and a garden and all those things. You're killing two birds with one stone essentially, and it's something I would highly recommend. Something I would be doing myself as well.
Yeah, and I highly recommend the deep litter method too. I mean, you're essentially just kickstarting your homegrown compost pile, and it's right there. You know what's going in there because you're putting it in there. You got your dry bedding, your chicken poop, and the microbiome. It's all local to you, and it'll be more health beneficents. But I guess that's it for me. I'm Shawn Bailey. This is
Patrick Lyle,
and this has been HatchTalk. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all wherever you have your podcasts.
That's right. And until next time, happy hatching.
Happy hatching. Take care.